Hey folks, Kevin Roberts here, the Fit Chef from Mississippi, here to show you another great recipe, actually a couple good recipes to help you flex on your next meal with your family and friends. So today we're going to teach y'all one of my favorite ones. This is going to be probably one of the best recipes my grandma ever showed me. It's going to be her cornbread recipe. All right, so this is going to be my grandma's cornbread. Then when I'm that, we're going to actually turn it into French toast. This is actually going to be a brunch episode. I'm going to show you how to make cornbread French toast with a blueberry compote, along with a good old-fashioned Monte Cristo sandwich. You're not going to want to miss this one. All right, folks, first thing I'm going to show you is I'm going to show you how to make this cornbread recipe. Grandmother taught me this a really long time ago. It's pretty simple, but I've used it all over the country. I've used it when I lived in California all the way back to Mississippi. So probably the last 10 years, I've been using this recipe nonstop. First, you're going to start off with a mixing bowl, obviously. Then you're going to take 2 eggs. Of course, you want to make sure they're as fresh as possible. These nice brown eggs, I love them. They're great. They have a nice silky, velvety, texture and flavor. Then you're going to take roughly 1 stick of butter, because in the South we measure everything by sticks of butter, which is going to be about a half a cup of butter melted. Make sure you melt it first, all right? Then you're going to take 2/3 cup of sugar. You're going to get this, you're going to pour it in there. Oh, by the way, I already went ahead and put a cast iron skillet in the oven. It's sitting in there right now at 375 degrees. I want to get that guy nice and hot before I pour this batter in there. So take your eggs, take your sugar, take your butter, whisk it all together, get this going. Yes. Then you're going to take 1 cup of cornmeal. I prefer a nice stone ground cornmeal. That way you get that nice texture, nice little chew to it. Then you're going to take 1 cup of all-purpose flour. Then you're going to take a half a teaspoon of baking soda. That way you get a little leavening action in there, kind of puff up, nice and puffy. Then you're going to take, I need to put some salt in there first. And take about 1 teaspoon of salt, just like that. Throw that in there. Then you're going to take 1 cup of buttermilk. Pour this in. There we go. Made my grandmother proud making this batter right here. She's gonna love it. And then we're gonna get this mixed up. There we are. I'm gonna pull that pan out of the oven. All right, got that pan out of the oven, and then I'm gonna pour this batter in here, and you should hear it just a little bit start to sizzle. What that's gonna do is it's gonna build a nice little film and like nice skin pretty much around the bottom of this guy. That way you get a nice crust. So put this guy back in the oven. We're gonna put it in there for about 23 to 25 minutes, 375. All right, and while we wait on that guy, I'm gonna show you the next recipe in just a second. All right, so while we wait on the cornbread to get done cooking, we're gonna go ahead and make the French toast batter for this. And we're gonna use an 8x8 dish. I prefer using more of these flat dishes like this. That way when you go to put the cornbread in there or your French toast in there, it really gets a nice even coating. We're gonna start off with 3 freshly cracked eggs right here. Then we're gonna take 1 cup of half and half. Again, I prefer using half and half because it gives it a nice balance of, silky smoothness, but a nice rich creaminess. Then we're gonna take about 1 teaspoon of cinnamon. We're gonna take just a little pinch of salt. We're gonna take about 2 tablespoons of sugar. That way you have a little bit of sweetness to it, but since we have so much sweetness in the cornbread, and we're also about to put a very delicious maple blueberry compote on top of this. So as soon as we make this, I'm gonna show you how to make the blueberry compote. Then you're gonna take a little bit of fresh nutmeg, and you're gonna put some fresh grated nutmeg on top of this guy. Perfect, there we go. A little bit of that right there. And then of course, you can't forget a little splash of vanilla. So put that in there. About a 1 teaspoon, crack up these eggs, get this whisked up. As soon as this gets whisked up, we'll pull out the cornbread, and then I'm gonna show you how to make the blueberry compote. Oh, this is gonna be a good brunch item right here. I can't wait. This one's gonna be real good. All right, perfect. So French toast batter is done, cornbread's almost done. It's time to make the sauce that goes on top of it. Real quick and easy, we're gonna start off with 1 cup of blueberries. We're gonna throw this guy right here. Make sure this thing's turned on, turned up. You want about a medium-high heat. Perfect. Then you're gonna throw in some fresh maple syrup. So you're gonna put in roughly about a half a cup of maple syrup. You're gonna put in about 2 tablespoons of honey. And the honey is put in there to kind of give it a little more thickness and a little added extra note of flavor to go along with it, all right? So So we're gonna add that in there. Then we're gonna add in a fresh squeeze of lemon juice. Of course, somehow I picked out the biggest one ever. So you really only want about 2 teaspoons of lemon juice going in there. And you're gonna put a little bit of lemon juice in there, squeeze that in there, and you're gonna let that sit for just a little while. You're gonna let it reduce down until it gets nice, thick, and bubbly. Meanwhile, I think our cornbread's done, so I'm gonna reach behind me and pull that guy out right quick. Oh, yes indeed. Look at this right here. Now this is phenomenal right here. My grandmother would be proud at this cornbread. Absolutely. Now, the thing is though, you have to let this cool down before you start to cut it. So we're gonna let this cool down just a little bit, and I'm gonna show you how to put all this together and make one heck of an amazing brunch dish, all right? So stay tuned for this one. All right, now that our cornbread is done, we're gonna go ahead and we have our batter done. We're gonna make a quick batch of this cornbread French toast. First thing you wanna do is you wanna grab your cast iron skillet, and you're gonna grab this guy, and you're gonna flip this cornbread upside down, just like this. Now that you have it upside down, what we're gonna do is we're gonna cut some slices and make it more manageable. Now the good news is this cornbread, you can use the pieces for other items. What we're looking for is a nice thick piece right down the middle. There we go, which we're gonna cut it in half. So now you end up with 2 little pieces just like this and just like that. And so get a couple more pieces just in case. Again, this is a good brunch item. And you're probably wondering, why is there ham and cheese and bread over here too? Because I'm gonna use this same batter so I can make one more brunch item. I'm gonna make a good old-fashioned Monte Cristo sandwich. Except it's not gonna be deep fried, all right? So, we're gonna add a little bit of butter to our pan, which is already hot. So you want a nice medium-high heat. And we already have our blueberry compote over there. We're gonna throw in our cornbread into our egg mixture, just like this. Ooh, there we go. Nice and good. Drain off the excess and then put it down. And we're gonna let that sear for just a second. So we're gonna let this sear on both sides for a little while. While this is searing, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and make my sandwiches too. Push all this to the side for just a second. Then we're gonna have our sandwiches. So Monte Cristo is back in the day. This used to be something that was made for the late 1800s. Pretty much every French restaurant used to have variations of this. And then somehow we kind of adapted it over ourselves over in the South. So what you're gonna do, you're gonna take a little bit of Dijon mustard. You're gonna put it around the back side of a piece of bread. So a little Dijon mustard on both sides. By the way, I'm using a nice brioche loaf. That way it's real airy, that way it's real light, that's right, it's real fluffy. And then you're gonna go on the other side for this guy right here. Perfect. Then I'm gonna use some fresh raspberry preserves. Now you can use raspberry, you can use blackberry. Another one of my favorite ones is gonna be fig. So fig is a really good preserve for use this. So spread that across the bottom. There we are. Perfect. And then I'm using Swiss cheese, 2 slices of Swiss, one side, and then you're gonna put provolone on the other. So pretty much this is like a hot ham and cheese sandwich with some preserves, and it's gonna be dipped in an egg batter. It's gonna be absolutely amazing. Then in the middle of this guy, we're gonna use some nice fresh ham, just like this. Put this ham together, and of course we're gonna put the sandwich together. Look, if it's hanging off the side, that's perfect, it'd be all right. We love it like that. Check on my cornbread over here. This stuff's getting really nice and delicious. Oh man, look at this guy. And it smells absolutely amazing. Yep, that batter's really good. It's got a nice little sear to it on both sides. Toss that around. So, I'm gonna let this cook for just a second, and then we're gonna put the rest of these sandwiches in here and dip it out. All right, so now our cornbread French toast is done. So we're gonna go ahead and put this guy on a plate, and since this pan's still hot, I'm gonna go ahead and dip the Monte Cristo in the batter and get it ready to go. So, let's look at this guy right here. This is absolutely phenomenal. French toast cornbread. Perfect right there. Put this guy down. And I'm gonna put this guy back on there. And of course, with the Monte Cristo, when you dip it in there, you wanna let it sit for just a second, then flip it over on both sides. That way you get a nice little bit. Drain off any extra. Now, of course, I'm gonna go ahead and put a little extra butter in there too. There we go. Butter makes the world go around, right? And then we're gonna put that on there. Awesome, we're gonna let that fry up for a second. While that's cooking, I'm gonna go ahead and put my blueberry compote on top of this guy. So, we have our French toast. We have our blueberries that we reduced down with the maple syrup, the honey, the lemon juice. Put it right across the top, just like this. Ooh, that is sexy right there. That looks absolutely amazing. Of course, we want to make sure that our Cristo sandwich is cooking evenly. Then I'm gonna add a little bit of powdered sugar to it. And what I have learned with powdered sugar, it doesn't take much to go a long way, right? So put a little bit across the top, just like this. And look at that, absolutely. Can't wait to try that guy. Perfect. And we got our sandwich going, and as soon as the sandwich gets done, we're gonna put it on a plate, and then we're really gonna dig in, all right? All right, now that the Monte Cristo sandwich has gotten about 3 minutes on each side, cheese is nice and melted, let's pull this guy off. Let's put it onto a pan right quick, or to the cutting board. Pull it out. Man, I am getting hungry. I've been smelling this all day long. Let's go. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut it. Perfect. And then slap this guy right here. Slap that guy right there. You see that jam in there? You see that everything else, the Dijon mustard, the ham, the cheese. Put a little bit of powdered sugar. This time, I'm gonna coat it a little bit extra more. There we go, just like that. This is exciting. Check it out, guys. All right, and that's the Monte Cristo sandwich right there. Of course, we also have the cornbread French toast with the blueberry compote. This is gonna be an amazing brunch. Next time you have a chance, I definitely recommend trying it out. As always, thank y'all for coming out. Kevin Roberts here, the Fit Chef from Mississippi. Thank you.